Greetings, I'm Solidus-Skully and welcome back to the Burning Ranges commentary. Well, now that we know that there are survivors in the park, well, survivors, patrons, aquarium goers, we gotta go rescue them. Because, for goodness sake, why would you invite them here during maintenance repairs? Well, then again, I suppose shit like that does kinda go on in the real world. But at the same time though, like, I mean, considering what the problem is that we have to deal with here, well, I mean, I guess it can't be helped. Accidents happen, and, well, I mean, again, it does kind of tie into, as I was saying in the previous part, like, I mean, with Burning Ranges, a lot of the causes being more naturalistic as opposed to being the result of an overarching villain. Because, I mean, really, what benefit would sabotaging an aquarium be to them? And at the same time, like, I feel like it also lends itself to a lot more environments than what you'd see in a typical action game or video game or whatever. Like, I mean, again, you are still going through facilities of, like, you know, energy plants or stuff like that, you know, space stations or whatever. You know, typical action, futuristic kind of affair, but at the same time, though, like, I mean, with a game like Burning Ranges, you'd have a reason to go to several different more environments, which, again, is the benefit that games like these usually have. Like, I mean, you know, somebody who is involved in rescue services has the ability to go to several different environments and, from a gameplay standpoint, give you more variety, so yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is that you very rarely see any video games set in, like, an aquarium. Or at least not the ones that I've played, anyway. Heck, I'm trying to think, actually. The only one that's really coming to mind right now is, like, I think Secret Agent Clank, although I don't think that was an aquarium. I think that was more like an underwater base kind of thing, which I suppose one might see as one and the same, but I'm meaning specifically an aquarium. And one that you get to interact with, because I mean, in Burning Ranges you do get to interact with it, as we are soon going to be seeing, but yeah, I'm kind of racking my brains thinking about any other game that tackles it quite succinctly. By the way, you will know when your limit meter is starting to reach its 20% threshold when it starts to glow red, so basically find some fires to extinguish quickly, otherwise, well, that bar ain't gonna be going down, and you're gonna be dealing with a flurry of explosions that you gotta watch out for. So again, like, I mean, like, this game is dynamic enough, and, you know, it doesn't, like, it's kind of weird, actually, because, and something that is a bit of a running theme with a lot of Sega games is that you are penalized for fucking up, but unlike in the case of, like, a Mega Man or something where you would be penalized harshly for it, Sega games mainly let you keep right on going, which, again, kind of helps with the action arcade mentality. So, like, I mean, you're punished, but at absolute worst, you're pretty much just given a lower mission ranking, whereas something like, say, Mega Man X, for instance, would probably penalize you by giving you a much harder route, or basically just brutalize you and give you a game over.
Oh, there you are! Can you help me out? Can you take me to the bottom of this building? Wow, this is great! Whee! Thank you. I'll take care of the rest.
Tillis!
I'm not going back.
The new data analysis indicates the existence of a huge energy reading at the bottom. Maybe this is what you were talking about.
Chris!
Tillis, I believe you.
I mean, I suppose, again, this is probably more of a mythology question, but again, I can't really question as much as I do, because, like, I mean, is, you know, psychic abilities, like, something contested in this world? Are there translation matrices to, like, decode what animals are saying? I mean, I was about to mention spoilers there. Again, I really don't know, to be honest, so, weird. Bill Klein. I believe some of these names might also come from, like, the development style, because I do recall seeing a name like that mentioned in, like, some of the translations, if not the translations, then at very least some of the voice directors for, like, the English stuff, so again, I don't know if they were working that closely with the team. That being said, though, I do recall, at least I think I recall, like, an anecdote that Lonnie Minella once said about Yuji Naka, where he apparently wanted the voice actors to look similar to the characters during the voice recording process of Sonic Adventure. I don't know. It kind of goes to show how very hands-on he was with the games that he worked on, or at the very least back in the 90s, because for those of you who know your Yuji Naka history, he was a bit of a prima donna. Especially given the fact that he threatened to leave Sega, like, several times throughout his course of working for them. Then again, I suppose maybe he was only really throwing his weight around because he created one of its biggest franchises, but at the same time, though, you do also have to wonder, I don't know. I mean, either way, I'd say in the years since, like, from working from Probe to going to Square Enix, and, you know, especially with the critical lambasting he got with Bland Wonderworld that he probably ain't exactly gonna be doing much. Although then again, I'm not really too sure what's going on with him at this point. Like, I heard he was apparently retiring, but now he apparently wants to learn how to program again, so, whether or not we're gonna see anything more from Yuji Naka in the recent future or anything else is really up for debate. I mean, that being said though, like, I mean, Yuji Naka is one of those sorts of developers that does have a very distinctive voice when it comes to the games he creates. And, like, I mean, critically well received or not, or whether or not it meshes well with, like, the current gaming public, I don't know, it really does sort of depend on, all of that. I am gonna miss him if he does end up retiring though, but, I suppose there is a bit of a reason why some creators tend to fizzle out by the tone of, you know, new developers and new, consoles, standards in gaming that usually tend to take people's fancy. I don't know, we have a few cutscenes coming up, so I can't really expunge a lot of my thoughts on that right then and there, but I don't know. I suppose I could probably just bring this back to the topic of Burning Ranges by pointing out the art design. Again, like, they managed to make a nice distinction between the park itself, and of course, well, you know, the maintenance areas. So again, like, I mean, I'm singing my praises to Naoto Oshima and his art design team. It looks pretty sweet! Oh no, wait a second. Oh yeah, hang on, I'm sorry, I'm getting my editing splices a bit confuddled. The cutscene is still coming up though, it's just, we gotta find our way through, but how can we? As we navigate this bed of sea life and all sorts of beautiful fish. Realistic fish AI. Ready for you on the Sega Saturn.
Too much damage there could cause...
Boy, what are you doing here?
Tillis, what is he saying?
He says there is a monster below. He says it's been the cause of this mess. What? Can you take me there?
So yeah, follow the dolphin and follow the light. But I mean, I will say though, like, I mean, navigating around the swimming sections, again, you have the dolphin to lead you to where you need to go. But even in that case, like, I mean, if you're cognizant about, you know, level design tropes, you know, where you need to go, a certain lit up pathway, maybe I need to go there. It does actually kind of make me a little bit cynical about how some people can't quite pick up on stuff like this, and again, I don't want to sound mean because, again, I can oftentimes miss the obvious as well, but if you have problems navigating this game, then maybe you should get a little wowie pop and go back to preschool, you freaking dweebs, because you ain't know how to play video games. Where was I going with this? I have no idea, but the point is, this game is easy to navigate if you have any degree of navigation skills. But I mean, even if you do go off the beaten path, as you can see with these crystals, which again have different types, some you can get some that are red, which I'm pretty sure is one crystal. Again, you have the golden ones and the green ones, which are worth like 5 and 10 retrospectively. So again, like, I mean, you do get different values. Holy shit, why did I jump from 5 topics at once? I don't know, that's just how I roll. Nowadays, as I'm doing these commentaries a bit more loosey-goosey than I used to... Boosey? Whatever. But I mean, let's see what other topics can I discuss with a fine feathered fair of Burning Ranges. Well yeah, I suppose it is also important to delegate is that we are actually underwater right now. Like, I mean, this entire facility is pretty much right beneath the sea, which I guess is there to give like a closer approximation of what the sea life is like in its own environment, so yeah, bit of a... Well, I mean, I suppose it's something that Burning Ranges 2 probably would have put to better effect if the proposed, like, structural integrity mechanic was going to be a gameplay element, because, like, I mean, you imagine the hull and structural integrity of the place, you know, filling with water, which would normally be a good thing, except for the fact that there's people down here, and, well, yeah, having to worry about, you know, flooding waters being a gameplay mechanic and trying to rescue people from different sorts of hazards, which I think actually would be a very interesting, turn of phrase to use if there was going to be a Burning Ranges 2. Like, I mean, how would you rescue somebody from drowning? How would you rescue somebody from a building that's about to collapse? What if it did collapse? What if you had to deal with casualties? You know, how would the story be affected? Again, there are a lot of ways that Burning Ranges could have gone in terms of its gameplay, and again, I mean, I've got time to talk about this, so I might as well expunge it here. It's the sort of game that I would definitely love to see for being a unique twist on the action genre, but at the same time, though, it's a sort of game that I don't really see being, you know, well, not accessible, that's the wrong turn of phrase to use. It's not the sort of game that I see being popular. Again, to me, it's kind of like the Shenmue versus Yakuza kind of argument. On the one hand, Shenmue has a very unique style of gameplay, which, again, is very specific. that might not appeal to everybody, whereas Yakuza, on the other hand, again, it takes on a very similar structure and a similar set of bones in terms of how the game is designed, but at the same time it's also a lot more, well, audience-friendly to those who want a video game experience, for the lack of a better phrase. Like, I mean, in Yakuza you have, like, a lot of... Like, I mean, it takes itself seriously, but there's also a lot of entertaining anime antics that go on display, which, again, I feel kind of helps it more than it does hinder it to some extent. Burning Rangers, on the other hand, like, I mean, it has the action-packed explosions, you know, a kind of thing going on. You know, it is action-packed, it is anime enough that I think it could appeal to both Western audiences and Japanese audiences. The problem is, I get the impression that people probably wouldn't really like a lot of the exploratory elements. Like, I mean, the main reasons you have to explore in this game is mainly to find survivors, but again, I think a lot of people would want more, you know, weapon variety, so, like, I mean, they'd probably want, like, a shotgun or a rocket launcher. Done in the style of, like, you know, extinguishing fires, obviously, but again, I think they'd probably want a bit more enemy variety, they'd probably want more attack patterns and stuff like that. And, like, a lot of traditional action game kind of stuff that would basically make it similar to, you know, what they've played. And again, obviously, third-person shooters and action games have come a long way since Burning Rangers, but I don't know. It's a kind of a weird thing where I think, like, once a lot of players usually get used to a core style of play that so many other games have adopted as their basic control style, any other way of doing things is usually seen as a bit awkward unless, of course, you know, a majority of the player base is used to it, or the game teaches you accordingly, you know, this is how the game is meant to be played, and this is how you can slide naturally into it, so... Again, the main point I'm just trying to get at here is that while I think Burning Rangers would be a very unique twist, I kind of have a few reservations and doubts about it being successful in the sense that, you know, it could basically compete as a main, you know, franchise running against so many other different titles that offer a lot more in terms of experience. And again, maybe that's just me being a bit cynical, or maybe I could be completely wrong about this, and, you know, the core video gaming audience would love Burning Rangers a lot more now since it's on a system, or at the very least released on systems that a lot more people were likely to own compared to the Sega Saturn, but... I don't know. I just have a lot of reservations about this style of game, and, you know, a lot of what Burning Rangers has to offer specifically that would be at least something that would convince Sega to keep it on as one of its big main running franchises, because... At least at this point in terms of Sega, we are far away from the days where Sonic was pretty much the only thing that they had keeping the lights on. Like, I mean, nowadays we do have at least Yakuza, we have, you know, I guess Persona if you technically want to count that, but when we excuse me, we also have Puyo Puyo and stuff like that. But, yeah, as for a lot of other things like, you know, Streets of Rage, stuff like that, like, I mean, they might hand them off to different studios to kind of see what they can do while still retaining the IP and licensing rights. But I mean, I don't know, like, it's really difficult to kind of translate those into sales, really. And like, I mean, I know games like Burning Rangers or Alex Kidd, the Director's Cut, are still very new at this point, so, again, we can't really see specifically, like, what sort of games are going to come out of that, but, I don't know, it's a very tumultuous time, and again, given this remake craze going on right now, it's difficult to see what's going to get a new game, what is going to get a franchise revival, or what's just a cynical remake there to cash in on, you know, the craze that's going on right now, and will pretty much lead to nothing but stagnation or just a repeat of the past, because companies just aren't convinced that people are going to like anything new, or anything that expands the formula, or, you know, experiments with anything, to the same degree that a lot of games and franchises did back in the 90s and even the 2000s, really, so... Yeah, it's a bit of a cynical and world-weary time, I'd like to say, but... we get ahead of ourselves. Anyway, off we go! Whee!
Tillis, the energy reading inside is getting big.
Chris, come in, Chris! Stupid radio. So you're the problem child.
Hey there, kiddies. You remember the Chaos 4 boss fight from Sonic Adventure and how boring that was? This is basically that boss fight done right. Several months before Sonic Adventure even came out, so, yeah. Again, as you can see here, the fish enemy... well, first of all, you have two levels of verticality. You can basically go under the water and thrust a pack out, or you can pretty much just jump on the platforms that the fish will then destroy. It'll basically launch out missiles, it'll try and, you know, blow up parts of the environment, using its underwater pulse cannon, and... yeah, just, I mean, look at it go. You basically have to wait until it surfaces before you can start blasting it to smithereens. Again, it'll launch out explosives at you. This is a really active and dynamic boss fight, and holy shit, the improvements over Chaos 4 is staggering. And quite frankly, it just kind of goes to show, how Burning Range has improved on an idea that Sonic Adventure kind of... Well, I wouldn't really say shit the bed, but it just kind of made it feel a little bit pish and turned it into more of a waiting game, whereas at least with Burning Range you're actively jumping and dodging out of the way of stuff, and at least in terms of visual feedback, you're getting a lot more spice in terms of what you're dealing with, so... yeah. I don't know. Plus the music here is also really fucking sweet. I can't get enough of it, but on that note, I am Solidus-Skully, keeping new metal, and next time on Burning Ranges, well, we're getting a really cute scene.
Did Tillis make it? Hey, are we floating up?
She did it. She destroyed the joint. Everyone's safe.
Tillis!
Chris, where's Tillis? What happened to her?
Don't worry. She's okay.
There she is!
This is great! Chris, it's okay if I ride on his back for a while, right? Please?
Okay, but only if I can get to ride first.